A wise general once said that wars are won and lost not based on firepower, but on logistics, and those logistics depend almost exclusively on geography. Can you get to the battle? Can you supply your warriors? Much smaller armies defeat much bigger armies all the time. In the history of warfare, the Spartan 300 is a great example of this. They were going up against the Persians, actually, ironically. But also, you can fast forward to modern era, the Viet Cong in their jungles defeating, or at least fighting to a stalemate. Viet Cong is a communist country today, the entire American military. Afghanistan and Iraq were very tough logistical places to get to, and also World War II, the beaches of Normandy, the frozen tundras of Moscow. This is just the reality of the battlefield. And if your battlefield is your home court in Iran, that happens to be an arid, mountainous, desolate desert. Look at how mountainous Iran is in comparison to their neighbors in the region. The nation is twice the size of Texas, and it is a pure mountain range. And brutal mountains where you can hide, where you can retreat to, where you can keep munitions. In comparison to the rest of the Muslim world, it is quite different geographically, and the Iranians are using that to their advantage. The Strait of Hormuz is a great example of how a beleaguered and weakened Iranian military can project an enormous amount of strength by simply controlling this narrow corridor. And it looks like they are trying to expand that to this corridor down here in the Red Sea. Between the Persian Gulf and the Red Sea, that's like 60% of the oil that flows through these narrow straits out into the global markets. And Iran has just put a fatwa on this strait as well. Bab al-Mandab is what it's called. And it is controlled by Yemen in part. And Yemen is an ally of Iran and has terrorist assets there, especially in this region, that wish to also control this strait. You want to know why the Saudis are bombing this region right here and the terrorist elements in that region is because they know what's coming next. Iran tells the Houthis to close the Red Sea gateway if the U.S. hits power network and bridges. This strait, by the way, is even more narrow than the Strait of Hormuz, and this is where approximately 30% of the world's oil travels through. It is currently not closed, but Iran is right now talking about closing it. Iran has urged Yemen's Houthi movement to shut down the Red Sea Strait, the gateway to the Red Sea, if the U.S. targets its power infrastructure. Yikes. And that would effectively close down an enormous amount of the world's oil supply. Citing sources, Yemen reports that the Houthis are preparing contingency plans to close this strait in coordination with Iran and Tehran if it decides to escalate the conflict further. Now, they're talking about closing potentially both these straits if the power plant and bridges get blown up, as President Trump is promising. Here we go. Yemen's Houthi leader claims Iran stand against its enemies, protect the entire region. So here you go. These are the kind of exciting people that you're dealing with. And as you can see here, there's a reason why Saudi Arabia, which of course must get all of their oil through this strait now, is preemptively bombing the terrorist elements and the Houthis in this region. Because Saudi Arabia, without this corridor or this corridor, everybody's oil gets stuck. And so everyone is taking this extremely seriously. Now, how could this escalate? And what's happening right now in Iran? Well, if they are to shut both of these straits, of course, it would be a catastrophe for the world's oil supply. The power plant and bridge day may actually be upon us. So at time of recording, this just came across the wire. The U.S. has struck an Iranian bridge connecting Bandar Abbas and the mainland in Iran. Now, let's navigate back up here. What is Bandar Abbas? Bandar Abbas is the #1 naval base and deep water port right here. And you can see that there are multiple bridges that have been built out from Bandar Abbas, but this is where the chief station for the Iranian Navy, the Islamic Republic of the Iranian Navy and Revolutionary Guard Corps. The facility supports fast missile boats, coastal defense systems, and submarine maintenance. The base has been a primary target in the ongoing U.S. attacks. But something wild has changed here. Something crazy has happened. Bandar Abbas is being attacked right now. Bridges have been blown up in Bandar Abbas. Bandar Abbas was the location, of course, of the drone boat attack earlier this week. Footage, though, now shows the Iranian air defenses engaging in a drone above Bandar Abbas that is not a U.S. drone. Look at this. Hammerhead. And they're just trying to shoot at it, right? With AK-47s. Look at that. That is not a United States designed drone. What's going on here? The United Arab Emirates has reportedly entered the war against Iran, directly launching the Yahaban loitering kamikaze drone at Bandar Abbas in its first known use of the weapon in conflict, per Iranian media. This major Iranian escalation is now increasingly likely. Iran's IRGC has specifically threatened to strike UAE's energy corridor if they jump into the war, and now it looks like they have. They are launching their own style kamikaze drones. Of course, the United Arab Emirates is directly across here from Bandar Abbas, UAE, right here. This is, of course, where Dubai is, Abu Dubai, and they're also planning on building a pipeline to bypass the Strait of Hormuz. So that is a massive escalation that, of course, follows a number of other massive escalations. At 2 p.m. today, the U.S. forces began conducting a new wave of strikes against Iran, a fifth consecutive night, further degrade Iranians' military capacities. They're running out of targets to strike, is what military experts are saying. The U.S. Navy is now targeting police stations and coast guards in southern Iran as there are few military targets left to strike. According to local reports, they've received footage of strikes reported in the areas of police stations, this township road, several explosions as the attacks began. You can see here. This is what it looks like on the ground in Iran as further infrastructure is degraded. Here is Bandar Abbas, that critical naval and IRGC army base is now has braced for a massive attack, and you can see the smoke rising above the military targets that are left standing in Bandar Abbas. Heavy explosions rocking Bandar Abbas as the United States renews its strikes against Iran. UAE has been destroying Houthi ballistic missile sites in Yemen. It looks like they are preparing for this to be the next front in the war. Saudi Arabia has bombed Yemen. And of course, the Arab nations have been allowing the U.S. to launch HIMARS missiles from their sovereign territory. Massive, massive explosion happened throughout Iran. This one day ago, a huge bunker buster that destroyed a Shahed drone facility. An absolute massive direct hit. And these are fired from a HIMARS system. So you don't have to fly a jet. You don't have to fly anything. You don't have to put any Americans in jeopardy here over Iran. You can just launch HIMARS missiles all throughout here. And you can hit 300 miles into Iran because this is about 50 miles here. So the range is 350 miles. So you are screwed. They've been doing launches in the middle of the day, very demoralizing, so people can film in bright colors in the daytime. They've been bombing the scout towers and strategic waterway towers. Look at that. So they're just degrading all of Iran's ability to force project throughout the Strait of Hormuz. And potentially talking about island takeovers. So they've been striking all of these islands. You have Qasem Island, Greater Thumb Island, Kish, and then Bandar Abbas. They've taken heavy damage. As has Karg Island. Karg Island was hit very hard, and you can see that oil has been leaking out from the Iranian oil hub. So airports have been hit, police stations have been hit, the infrastructure is being degraded. Many of these islands have no power, no water. You really are going back to the Stone Age at this point with Iran. At 2 p.m. today, U.S. forces have begun conducting a new wave of strikes.
Targeting Iran's regime for a fifth straight night. Let's bring in Lucas Tomlinson. He's tracking it all in Tel Aviv. What can you tell us, Lucas?
And Jillian, U.S. Military Central Command, those airstrikes started about 35 minutes ago at 2 p.m. Eastern at the top of this past hour. And from the indication from Central Command, it appears that these strikes are ongoing. And this comes on top of the 3 waves of American airstrikes launched just yesterday. And while
they're running out of targets, maybe this is why Iranian government-linked jet flew to Qatar yesterday. It tracks with an Iranian delegation that may be wanting to sue for de-escalation, and it's certainly what we hope for here, ladies and gentlemen. We don't want there to be, of course, the scorched earth, Moab level of destruction, because I fear if both of these straits close, you can have $200 barrels of oil. It should be 50, and that's what we want. So wrap this thing up, get it over with, get our boys home, secure peace in the region. How are you going to do it? I don't know. I don't know, man. War's tough. Ugly peace, preferable to an ugly war? Let me know in the comment section. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe.